Let's start with something really honest. Whether we want it or not, people are watching the church. Not because we're impressive and not because we're perfect, but because light, real light, can't help but be noticed. Jesus had something to say about that. Hi, I'm Stephanie, and this is HopeLit, where we have honest conversations about what it's like to live as light in this world. Today I want to look at the big picture. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus said something striking. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. Up until this point, he had talked about light in personal terms. First he said, I am the light of the world, referring to himself. And then he gave an assignment to his followers when he said, you are the light of the world. Now he zooms out from one lamp to a whole city. This isn't about individual spirituality anymore. It's about what people see when they look at us together. This is where faith moves from something personal to a public witness. A city isn't just one light. It's many. Homes, streets, gathering places. And what makes a city visible isn't any one single flame. It's the way the lights all hold together. Think about those satellite pictures that you see when they're getting photos from space at the Earth. When you see a city, you don't see individual lights. You see one light identifying that city. And that's what Jesus is getting at. Now, the church wasn't meant to be flawless, but it was meant to be coherent, that one single light. A shared posture of love that quietly says something true about God, about His love. Visibility is not optional, and here's the part we sometimes miss. Jesus doesn't say, try to be visible. He says, a city on a hill cannot be hidden. So the question isn't whether the church will be seen. The question is, what will be seen? Will people see humility or hostility? Mercy or moral superiority? Hope or fear? History tells us it can go either way. Let's be gentle and honest here. There have been seasons when the church's shared light has healed communities, protected the vulnerable, and made room for the forgotten. And there have been seasons when the light felt harsh, when judgment crowded out compassion, when being right mattered more than being loving. Naming that isn't an attack. It's an invitation to clarity. Because here's the sobering truth. A community can talk about light and yet still function in darkness. Now, Jesus doesn't give us a branding strategy. He gives us a way of being. And this is where Chesed comes in. Not just as a personal virtue, but as a communal practice. A community shaped by Chesed looks like this. People are seen before they're assessed. Stories are honored, not rushed. Failure becomes a place for growth, not exile. Questions are welcomed, confession is met with grace, and restoration matters more than reputation. Testimonies, real testimonies, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the transformation are valued. That kind of city glows, not because it's perfect, but because it's faithful. Now, posture matters. A city on a hill can feel threatening, or it can feel inviting. Jesus' posture was always toward people. He entered cities as a servant, not a conqueror. He wept over Jerusalem, even as it rejected him. So it's worth asking, without defensiveness, are we known more for what we oppose than for whom we love? Do our words build bridges or walls? Does our light feel warm to people standing in the dark? These aren't accusations. They're alignment questions. When the church lives as a city of light, something beautiful happens. The lonely find belonging. The wounded find safety. The searching find space to breathe. Light doesn't rush people, it reassures them. And this is how faith spreads, not by force, but by faithfulness. Not by pressure, but by presence. The city on the hill Jesus imagined isn't a monument. It's a movement built slowly, imperfectly, by real people learning to love better together. And when that city shines the way that it's meant to, the world doesn't just see the church. They catch a glimpse of the holy and loving and merciful God who dwells within it. So here's the HopeLit question I want to leave you with today. When you think of the church at its best, what kind of city on a hill does it look like to you? And what is your role in it? Think about it, reflect on that, and let's have a good discussion about that in the comments. I'd love to hear what's on your mind and on your heart. Thanks for sitting with this today. If this stirred something in you, hope, grief, longing, or even questions, let's talk about that in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, because light grows clearer when we talk about it together.